I told my wife, I know I get picked on about saying it so much, I said, but I honestly am living my dream. And, the guys have been great. The players have been great. Our coaching staff has put in so many hours this summer helping make my job a whole lot easier, whether it's field maintenance or getting water or organizing the equipment room. We all just jump in and do it together, and we love being around each other. The coaching staff does, and I think that means a whole lot because you do spend a lot of time with each other. It has been everything and then some. I know we haven't played a game yet. We haven't faced true adversity yet. And I always say that how you handle adversity tests who you are as a man, and that goes for me and our coaching staff and every player that we put on the field on Friday night. But I think it's a close-knit group, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Austin Handy, he told me when I got the job that dream growing up was to be starting quarterback for North Surry. He was a starting quarterback as a 10th grader on the JV team. Really, that's his only experience. He's got what I like in a quarterback, in that he's a confident kid. He's a leader by example. He's a leader vocally. As far as throwing the football, which was the thing he needed to improve the most on, he's worked extra, 30 minutes before practice, 30 minutes after practice. He's worked a lot with Tanner Hyde, a former quarterback of ours, on footwork. He's worked on the weekend with David Carpenter, our quarterback coach. We're trying to do things that Austin can do. I've told Austin I want every drive to end with a kick, either a punt, field goal, or an extra point. As of right now, Ashton Simmons. For a long time, those two guys were 50-50, and Ashton Simmons has the better arm out of the two. He knows that. Austin knows that. Ashton's got a really strong arm, and Ashton's improvement has been just as good as Austin's improvement. And it's not saying that just because I'm saying Austin Handy's our quarterback today that he will be when we play in 2 weeks, or that we'll be halfway through the season. Ashton's that close to him and pushing him that hard. Blaze is going to be asked to carry a majority of the load. He's the kind of tailback that I like to get the ball to 20, 25 times a game. He's got to be the workhorse. We had Midnight Madness the other night, and he takes it 70 yards for a score on the first play of scrimmage. That's just the type of kid he is. When the lights come on, he comes to play, and I'm hoping that he stays healthy, and I'm hoping that the North Surry faithful and the rest of the area get to see what type of special kid he really is. Our fullback's going to be Sean Dehart. Sean's a senior, worked really hard in the weight room, and we don't give our fullback the ball a ton. I told Sean he can expect to get it 3 or 4 times a game. We run fullback trap, we run a little H counter off a sweep action, and he's going to get the ball some on our waggles and boots out of the backfield. Catching the football. He catches the football as good as anybody we got. So I expect a lot of that. Corbin Bullins, he's a sophomore, and Dakota Goss will also be getting the football some. Both were tailbacks on JV last year. Both are good, hard-nosed, eye-tight tailbacks. I'm fortunate to have the type of kids that we need in this offense. Our receiving corps, it's a work in progress right now. We're looking at several kids. Ryan March, he's 6'3", probably 185 pounds, basketball player. We clocked him right at 4'6" in the 40. Got to work on his hands a little bit, got to work on his confidence a little bit, his route running, but he's just a natural athlete. Another one is Alex Edwards. Alex Edwards was our best receiver on JV last year. Another kid he's got to have self-confidence. He wants to do so well that sometimes he beats himself up so much he can't do anything. Brady Kraft is a kid that had an accident a couple years ago, had a broken vertebrae. He's coming back from that injury. He's having a little trouble with his back right now, but he's probably our best route runner and best receiver. But we just got to get him healthy. Another one is Matthew Hawks, one of the fastest kids on the team. Didn't play football last year. Just got to get better at it. When I say Eric Gunner was a starter last year, he started 3 games for us, while our senior left tackle, Ryan Grice, was out with the injury. So really, they're all fresh faces. They all were other than Eric Gunner, most of them were the JV offensive line last year. It is a point of concern, but it's also I've been encouraged by the progress. Those guys never get any credit and all the blame. They put the time in this summer in the weight room, and they put the time in with me because I still coach offensive line, and we're working steps and assignments and those type of things, and it's a work in progress, but it's getting better. At center, we're looking at 2 guys, Caleb Thomas, who's a junior, and probably our heaviest kid at like 265, and Stephen Young, who was our JV center the last couple of years. Right now, it's a lot like our quarterback battle. It's close. Guard, obviously with Gunner at the left guard, we feel pretty good about that. And a kid that has improved more over a summer than anybody I've ever coached, Zach Puckett. Zach was about 260 last year, and it wasn't a good 260. He's dropped about 40 pounds. He's 220. He's killed it in the weight room, and he's went from probably 3rd on the depth chart to probably starting at right guard for me. Pleasant surprise. He's done everything I've asked him and more. Right tackle and left tackle, really got 3 guys fighting for 2 spots, I would say. Really a 4th. Devin Pruitt and Corey McKeithen really battling out at the right tackle position, and Carlos Flores and Austin Shute at left tackle. Tight end, Sidney Simpson's 1. And, of course, Ashton Simmons has been working there some too when he's not been working at quarterback. We got a lot of new faces on offense. It's not many times you have to replace 11 starters in an offense that scored, 420-some points last year. And at one time was called the greatest show on turf, after the Rams there through about 6 games before we hit the injury bug and played some better teams. But we won't look like that this year. Catlin on the field he's got a motor that never stops. We've asked him to play several different positions in his career. He's played inside linebacker. He's played weak side defensive end, strong side defensive end. And this year we're going to try him somewhere new. We're going to put him at really our nose guard, our 2-eye, our A-gap player. What we're asking Catlin to do is wreak havoc in that position. We do have the ability, Coach Taylor's putting the ability to move him back to linebacker if we want to get like a 3-3 stack look. Which we've done some in the past, and he'll be the middle linebacker there when we get into that look. But Catlin's just one of those kids that can do anything you ask him to do, and he's going to do it 110 miles an hour and to the best of his ability. Linebacking core, I feel like personnel-wise, and Coach Taylor would agree, we should be, and whether we will be or not, that's still to be determined. We should be as strong as we've been there. George Rumplash is someone who played 6 games for us last year as a sophomore on varsity. He got hurt. Through 6 games, George Rumplash, I think he had 4 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries. He's just one of those guys that's got a knack for the football. Dakota Goss, who was our best JV player last year, I felt like. He played tailback and inside linebacker for us. Played both ways on JV. He'll be a sophomore. He is probably as natural as an inside linebacker as we've had here probably in 4 or 5 years. And we expect big things out of him. Josh Cox will be moving down from free safety to what we call our hound, which is our strong outside linebacker, or strong safety if we get in 4-2-5. He's put on about 30 pounds. He's been a great leader. He's really a success story. This is a kid that pretty rough around the edges in his time here at North Surry. We don't have to go into detail, but he's done a complete 180, 360, whatever you want to say, and he stepped up and he's been a leader. He didn't miss one day over the summer. Right now we can't run anything to his side outside because it's going to be, he's going to come down, reduce the running lane, and we just got nowhere to go. And he's also great out there because he can cover the pass, where he's played secondary in the past. Our Wolf, which is our weak side outside linebacker, that's probably going to be Weston Angel or Corbin Bullens. Weston's a senior who has played corner for us in the past. Another kid that's put on some weight in the weight room, done a great job over the summer. Another kid that we're, expectations are pretty high from him and for him, and I think he's going to be successful at that position. Corbin Bullens is a sophomore who we feel like can play that position or corner. We just haven't decided which one. And Weston can play outside linebacker or corner. So right now it's kind of we're trying to see what best fits our defense all the way around. Corner is a lot like wide receiver. It's still up in the air. We're wanting to get up in people's faces this year, play some press man, and we're just trying to find physical guys that can run. DJ Bowles is a kid that's done a great job. Matthew Hawks has done a great job. Luke Vaden, Alex Edwards, we're still kind of undecided at both corners right now. Blaze Akers, one of our best, but he's going to have to touch the mail on offense. Probably one of the positions we're most sure of is free safety, and that's going to be Corbin Nutt. Another kid that's packed on some weight, was committed all summer in the weight room every day. Here, probably the first one here every day. That's 7-on-7, and I know it's 7-on-7, and that's not real football, but I think he had 5 or 6 picks, and he was around the football all night. He's the guy that makes our calls. Defensive line going weak to strong. Weak side defensive end right now, it's looking like it's going to be Jordan Dehart. Jordan Dehart's a kid who didn't start on JV last year until about the last 5 games. The kid's 6'3", but he's probably the most quiet kid on campus. He power cleaned like 245, and it looked more like a reverse curl than a power clean. He's all over the place. He's a wrecking ball. He's learned how to use. He's starting to learn how to use what God's gave him. His arms, I don't know what his reach is, but I guarantee you it's as long as anybody's ever played here. He just looks like a defensive end, and now he's learning how to play like a defensive end. He runs 4.7 in the 40. At the West Stokes Lineman Challenge, he did 22 tire flips, was the most out of the 150 linemen there. He done 22 tire flips in 1 minute. Defensive tackle, Corey France is a senior that we're looking at, and we expect our kids to play hard every down. And if Corey can do that, then Corey's going to get to play. And strong side defensive end, Trip Miller, one of the most athletic kids in our program for his size, and I think he's going to be good for us. Austin Barker is going to be our punter. He attended several punting camps down South Carolina, one thing in Clemson, and he works really hard at it. That's his craft, is punting. And it might be this year, he was our kicker last year, it might be this year he is only our punter. Carlos Flores, an offensive lineman, right now is probably the leader as far as our kicking, PATs, field goals.
The biggest message we're trying to portray to our kids this year is just take everything one day at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time, and just concentrate on our fundamentals and take care of ourselves. Not to worry about the opponent as much as just worry about what we have to do. He brings a different element to the game than Danny. Losing Danny Smith is pretty big. I mean, it's going to hurt. There's no doubt about it. His leadership and the intangibles he brings to the game is just hard to replace. But JJ's doing a fine job right now, and we just look for big things from him. And then right now we're probably looking at Zach Singleton backing him up. And that's not Zach's natural position, but Zach's smart enough and athletic enough of a kid to be able to do it. We returned Jaquan Martin, who is in his junior season now, and he had his best year last year and was all conference, and we're looking for big things from him. Jaquan's gotten stronger. He's gotten a little bit faster. He works real hard in the weight room, so we're looking for Jaquan to tote the mail most of the time, and then we have a sophomore now that we're hoping he can back him up and bring a different element to the backfield. That's Christian Artis. Christian Artis is a kid that we hope he's more of a bigger back, more of a banger. Well, we have that luxury of having a lot back up front, but we don't have the luxury of those guys being rested either because they have to turn around and play defense. We're not very deep in the lineman area, so we have to have an injury-free season, and I know every coach says that, but in our case, it's paramount because of that. And then we've got to be able to play for 4 quarters, and if we're doing what we can to condition them to get them ready for that. Losing Danny is one thing that hurt a little bit in the fact that now JJ's coming in to play quarterback, and he was probably one of our best skill position kids out on the corner. But we got a transfer in. His name's Chris Wharton, and we're looking for big things from him. And Chris did not get to participate in either of the scrimmages, but he'll be available Friday night. And then we have Dalton Lampley, who's a very good. He's got very good hands on receivers. And then also Tanner Midkiff. Tanner Midkiff has good hands and is a pretty good receiver. So we're looking for big things out of those 2 guys, seniors. Chuck's a do-everything guy. Chuck will play outside linebacker for us. Sometimes we'll get down to defensive end. He's our tight end. He's got really good hands. We'll split him out. We'll put him up on the line. He just does whatever you ask him to do. He's just one of those seniors that I have that will do whatever you ask him to do. And Chuck's a great kid, a good leader for us. Zach's very quiet to himself. Some people may think that he's wouldn't be that way because the way he plays, and he likes to, he don't talk to the other team, but he likes to talk to his players a lot, and in that phase of the game, and when he makes a big play, he's going to scream and yell and be excited. But he's a very quiet individual. He stays to himself some. He's got a lot of friends, but he stays to himself. He'll be the guy in the corner of the weight room working out by himself or whatever. But he's the leader of our defense, and he's just one of the fastest reading kids I've ever coached, and he's a special kid. The other linebackers we have is a junior, Matt Poss, and then we're looking at maybe a sophomore, Jackson Talley, at that position. Both of those kids are fighting for that position right now. Matt wasn't able to play in the scrimmage, but he'll be available for us Friday. And then the outside backers, we're looking at 2 seniors there. Dalton Lampley at the rip and Austin Bullard at the Sam, and both those kids will hit you, and them being seniors, being back for another year, I think they've gotten a year better. Justin Rogers is going to play multiple positions, but he's going to help us some at defensive end, and he's got a motor. But anchoring that line return from last year is Aaron Pensula, and Pensula he's a great kid. He's just a good old country boy, and I mean he's a very vocal leader. Helps get the kids where they need to be, and if somebody's out of line, he helps get them in line. The safeties right now is Tanner Midkiff, looks like, and Dalton can also go back there. He's interchangeable between the rip and the free safety, and then at our corner positions, we've got Jaquan Martin. Jaquan can play back there at the corner. He's also sort of a outside backer / corner because he's got the speed to go back there. And then, of course, J.J. Davis. And then we're looking at Elijah Wharton and Chris Wharton, the Wharton brothers. Hopefully can fill in some time back there as well. We do return Brian Himmelspa, and he was our punter last year. And Brian can kick the ball pretty good. He's best at punting, but he's had a pretty decent offseason, and we're looking for big things from him this year. Key to having another successful season in Walnut Cove is focus. Focus on the little things, and that's what we got to focus on. Take care of the little things. Take care of ourselves. And it's cliche, but just one game at a time. I think, especially with high school kids, if you start having success, they start reading the clippings and they start looking where everybody's predicting and all that stuff. And it doesn't matter where anybody predicts you to finish or what they preseason pick you. There's a lot of teams that started out at every level that's been preseason picked to go to the Super Bowl or preseason picked to win the BCS or preseason picked to win the conference championship in high school, and they end up finishing 4th or 5th. It's got a lot to do with Lady Luck as far as the injury goes, but it also has a lot to do with taking one game at a time and focusing on each opponent, because there's not a team on our schedule we don't play that can't beat us.